Above the freezing Antarctic waters, wildlife enjoy a playground of ice amidst sub-zero temperatures. Beneath this slippery playground, divers search for life in every crevice. Billowy clouds form ice sculptures in the peaceful and tranquil world of Neptune's kingdom. Above us, the ice preserves this frozen world.
When the first explorers came here, immersion in the Antarctic Ocean meant certain death. Now, it's all in a day's play. Cygni Island in the South Orkneys was first used as a whaling and sealing station. Now it's one of the British Antarctic Survey's bases, and in winter the only sealing is the ice. Scientists now overwinter regularly in places where, in the past, to do so would have required endurance to the point of heroism. The Antarctic winter is beautiful, but it can be savage. At Cygni, they study the Antarctic ecosystem, especially underwater, during what had been thought of as the dead time of year. To study the frozen sea, the first job is to gain access to it. The temperature of the air varies with the weather. Today, it's an equable 20 degrees below 0 centigrade. Underwater, it will be a steady minus 1.8 degrees. The neoprene wetsuits are 10 millimeters thick, but otherwise the equipment is the same as scuba divers use anywhere else in the world. Getting to the dive site is somewhat different from elsewhere. The divers are highly trained experts, and they observe all the precautions, including a lifeline to connect them with the surface. In the whole operation, the coldest job may often be that of the lineman, exposed on the surface to whatever the weather can do. Underneath, all is calm, clear, and utterly magical. Far from being lifeless, the undersurface of the ice is dotted with living creatures, some in suspended animation awaiting the spring, and others very much alive and active. On the ocean floor, there are large clear areas swept by the scouring action of icebergs and sea ice moved by the tide. In the shelter of the rocks, algae can grow, and among the algae there's a rich fauna, highly adapted to life in this chill environment. The 12-legged sea spider, Dodecalopoda mawsoni, is named after Sir Douglas Mawson, the great Antarctic explorer from Australia. It's not really a spider at all, but a pycnogonid, a type of mite. Like so many creatures of cold climates, it's a giant of its kind. Most of the invertebrates down here are on the large side, and not surprisingly, few of them have common names. The isopod Antarcturus got its name because it's very similar to one found round the North Pole, called, would you believe it, Arcturus. It lives by filtering particles from the sea, but in the clear water of winter it finds food hard to come by.
Wildlife Chronicles will continue on the Discovery Channel. Chronicles on the Discovery Channel.
The divers are not so well adapted. Even with their modern equipment, the cold begins to tell on them after about 3/4 of an hour beneath the ice. The time has come to return to the surface. Another part of the diving program is a form of fishing called trammel netting. Long, loose nets are laid along the bottom overnight to see what they'll catch. The only way to connect point A and point B is beneath the ice. When the net is in position, the crew tie off the ends and leave it alone for 24 hours. The net hangs like a curtain in the still water. The fish Notothenia is sometimes called the Antarctic cod, though it's not related to the northern cod. The Notothenia family is important because its members are large and edible. Near South Georgia, its population was badly depleted by overfishing between 1969 and 1980. This particular catch is to learn more about the family. Notothenia leads a leisurely life as a rule, so an hour or two of immobility won't do it any harm. Next day, the net can be pulled up. Research shows that Notothenia grows and matures very slowly, so that it takes a long time to replace the part of its population removed by heavy fishing. The labs at Signy are equipped to deal with a wide range of scientific research. Some material is preserved to be sent home for further study, like the crystalline stones from Notothenia's inner ear, which can be used to discover exactly how old an individual is. By studying the sea in all its aspects, physical and chemical as well as biological, the scientists at Signy are putting together a picture of the Antarctic ecosystem, which shows that it's more complex than people had thought. It's also very vulnerable, just because of the many interrelationships between the animals and plants. Some of the information which is processed by the computers on Signy is gathered by less high-tech means. The thermometer, which samples the water at a particular depth, as well as taking its temperature, is a Heath Robinson gadget. But no one's ever improved on it, so why change? When the samples are analyzed in the lab, they reveal seasonal changes in the chemistry of the water, though its temperature remains fairly constant. Spring comes to Signy in the form of penguins and seals, returning after spending the winter in open water further north. Gen 2 penguins are the fastest swimmers of the whole tribe.